Okay, hello, I'm Renee. I'm back at Whiskey Rapids in downtown Wisconsin Rapids. I have Alicia and Becca here with me today. We are going to go through a class that's going to start really slow with some longer holds in poses, and then eventually we'll work through to movement towards the end of the class. If you want to catch classes live with me in person, Whiskey Rapids, I teach classes here upstairs along with several other areas in the community. So feel free to look me up online and find out where you can catch those. But go ahead and get yourself started wherever you are comfortable. So if you want to lay or if you're fine seated, pick a spot where you can shut down your eyes, roll your shoulders back, soften your fingers, soften up your belly. Release the tension along your legs and all the way down into your feet and toes. Take time to notice what is happening around you, within you. Acknowledge the distractions. Now direct your energy and your attention to your breath. Can you feel your breath at your chest, behind and around your heart? Focus on a few more of those hearty chest breaths. Create warmth, create space. Start to expand your breath from your chest all the way into your belly, your armpits. See if you can extend it even further down your arms, down your legs. And give yourself a moment to reflect and feel what's happening in your body, where your thoughts are at. Some days it's easier to connect to your breath and sit here and be still, and other days your list just never seems to stop. And that's why we come here, and that's why we keep practicing. You can set an intention for your practice, that word or that energy, that phrase that you want to keep your attention on. My mood and energy lately has been gratitude. Trying to find gratitude in each moment, each breath. So whatever your intention is together through your nose, take in a deep breath. Open your mouth and let it out. Again, big breath in. Strong breath out. One more time. Give yourself a moment to stretch, move, whatever position that you're in right now. Eventually we're going to come to a seat, but if you're lying, take your time getting there. We're going to start in a seated butterfly. So you can bring the soles of your feet together. We're going to move into a fold from here, so you can use your hands to help pull yourself forward or start to walk your hands out in front. Find some place that you can rest your arms, allow your head to drop so that you can lengthen and loosen behind your neck and down your shoulder blades. Slow your breath down. Notice what parts of your body can you feel connected to the ground or even to yourself. Are there parts of your body now that you can focus on to lengthen? Stay forward and low and walk your way over towards the right side. As far as you can press your ribs towards your thigh. Connect through your left hip, reach out further to the right. Take a few more breaths, and with each exhale, see if you can reach just a tiny bit further over. Engage your core, walk over to the opposite side. And push down into your hips, extend out through your arms and your head. Put your breath between your ribs and create space. Slowly take your time and come back towards the center and all the way up tall. We're going to come into a seated reverse tabletop. Bring your feet onto the mat, knees up, lift your chest. You can stay right here, keeping your hips on the ground, or if you want a little bit more strengthening, a little more opening through the front, lift your hips to the ceiling. Play too with how your legs are. Maybe one's long, trying to cross a leg over. Take about 4 or 5 more breaths here, just trying to stretch out the front side of your body. Control your way back down. We're going to meet in caterpillar. With your knees bent, you can fold your chest and your chin over your thighs. Bend your head and loosen up your neck. Rock from side to side a little bit here. Just take some notes if you're able to put some space between your ribs and down your back. Bring yourself back up tall. We're gonna go into a seated twist. So you can keep your right knee up at your chest and extend your left leg long. Hug your knee into your chest and put your right hand down to the ground behind you. Lift from your heart and your head up to the ceiling and see how far back you can see behind you. Hold here, connect with your breath. Use it to cleanse and wring out all of your organs at your core. Sit up a little taller, take one more big breath in. Stay as you twist the breath out. Unwind, turn forward. Let your bent knee drop down to the side. We're gonna go into a fold from here. Reach towards your long leg. Wherever your hands reach, if it's at your knees or if you can go past your foot, work with your breath. Allow yourself that time to sink in deeper with each exhale. Lift yourself back up, engage through your core. We're gonna switch out our legs and start with a twist on the opposite side. Hug your knee into your chest, put your left hand down behind you. Lift up from your heart and your head. And now see how far back can you look. And now what's happening at your shoulders and your neck? Can you still soften even though you're trying to turn and look back? Pull yourself up a little bit taller, take in one more breath. Stay and twist the whole breath out. Slowly unwind, drop your bent knee down and reach towards your long leg. Press forward from your belly, from your heart, and from your head. Stay here for one more breath in. Control your breath out. Slowly walk your way back up. Extend both legs out long. Reverse tabletop or reverse plank. Put your hands down behind you. You can stay up with your chest and or lift your hips. Pointing or flexing your toes. Just see how it feels different in your body. Lift up a little bit higher, take in one more big breath. Control your way back down as you exhale. Fold all the way towards both of your feet. Reach as far as your fingers will allow. Bring yourself back up nice and controlled, and then we're going to come over into tabletop position. Move on to your hands and knees. Take a moment here to turn your hands in some different directions so you can stretch your wrists and your arms. You can also play around with your toes by tucking them under to stretch out your feet and your ankles. Set up tall and sturdy in your tabletop. Spread your fingers apart, push the ground away. Lift your right leg back in the air behind you. Now just see where your balance is this morning or today here by reaching your opposite hand out in front of you. Push out long through your heel, long through your fingers. Draw your belly and ribs in and move your breath through nice and fluid. Stretch out a little bit further and release down to the mat. Opposite leg, stretch back, find your balance, and when you're ready, take your other hand out in front of you. Hold here just for a couple of breaths. Are you still staying sturdy in your core? If someone came and maybe sat down at your hips, would you be able to hold them up? Extend out a bit further and lower back down. Take a moment, rest in child's pose. Separate your knees, bring your toes together, press your hips back towards your heels, and then find a spot for your head to rest, either if it's stacking on your arms or all the way on the ground. Connect again to your breath deep at your heart space and send it all the way to your belly, into your thighs. Come back to tabletop. Extend your right leg back in there behind you. We're going to come into a lunge. Step your foot outside of your hand. And you have options here. You could come up high on your knees or with your hands on your knees. If you've got blocks, so ladies, if you want to use your blocks, you could also come down onto your hands. Or you could even have your hands all the way on the ground, maybe even trying to work your elbows towards the ground. Settle into a spot where you're going to take maybe 5, 6 deep breaths. Let's add in a twist here. So your inside hand, your right hand is going to come up towards the ceiling or even back to the wall behind you. Play around and see how it feels in your shoulder. Take a couple of breaths. You can move throughout the time here. And bring your hand back down towards the mat. Release your foot back, knee onto the mat. Extend your opposite leg up and back, stretch it out nice and long. Now use your core to bring it forward to your lunge. Decide on this side if you want to set up down low, coming up a little bit higher. Put distance between your front foot and your back knee. Take a couple more slow breaths. Let's add in our twist. Take your left hand up and back, play around. Release your hand back next to the other. Come back to tabletop. We're going to go into broken toe. So you're tucking your toes underneath your feet. And then we're going to sit back with our hips towards our heels. And then you can play around and see how high can you bring yourself up. Lift up through your heart and your head. Draw your shoulders down your back. Shut down your eyes. Through your nose, breathe in. Open your mouth and let it out. Again, deep breath in. Release. One more. Take your time, come back out of this. Allow your toes a few minutes to breathe. We're gonna move our way into a downward dog next. Come up onto your hands and your feet. Lift your hips high. Take some time to pedal out your legs, your head. Take your right heel towards the ceiling. Bend your knee and point your knee up higher to the ceiling. Now take your leg back up straight, and we're going to set it down on the opposite side of the left side of our back foot. Push back down into your heels, just getting a little extra stretch maybe through the outsides of your hips. Take your right leg back up high towards the ceiling. Bend at your knee one more time. And if you're feeling up for it today, you could try flipping your dog, where you take your foot over to the other side and then reach your hand up towards the ceiling. So your right hand will come up towards the ceiling. All right, we're going to meet back in our three-legged dog. Both hands down, heel up nice and high. And then just see what happens if you hop on your left toes. 1 or 2 inches. Maybe just enough that you could switch your feet in the air. Nice. All right. Now let's try with this other leg. Bend at your knee, roll around your ankle. Extend your leg back up long. Set it down on the opposite side. Take just a couple of breaths here. Extend your left heel back up. Bend, see if you can flip it on this side. Taking your foot over, twisting your hips up. Three-legged down dog, take it back. 1 or 2 hops just to see what it feels like on this foot. And then set your toes down, walk your hands back to your feet. Take a minute to roll around your ankle or your wrists. You can try rolling your ankles too, I guess. Try changing the direction, maybe even pushing into your fingertips or the tops of your hands. Start to bring your feet in close towards each other. We're going to rise to mountain pose. Go ahead, stand up tall, reach your hands towards the ceiling, take in a deep breath. Back bend with cactus arms as you exhale. Mountain, stand up tall. Back bend with those cactus arms. One more time. Come back tall to mountain, reach up, fold forward. Halfway lift, press your heart towards the top of your mat, fold back down. Mountain, rise up, back bend with long arms. Mountain, back bend, keep your arms up. One more time. Mountain, fold. Halfway lift, fold. Mountain, back bend with low arms. Again, reach, low arms. One more. Again, to mountain, fold. Halfway lift, downward dog. Walk your hands forward. Lift high onto your toes, sink down to your knees, and then all the way to your belly. Lift into a back bend. As high as you're feeling this morning, you can start simply here or trying to come up onto longer arms, and then lower yourself back down. Let's do that again. Lift to your back bend, take in a big breath, lower back down. One more. Downward dog. Connect to your belly button as you pull yourself up and back. Rise to your toes, look up at your hands. Travel your way to the top of the mat. Halfway lift. Fold. Mountain. Back bend arms however you want. Mountain. Fold. Halfway lift. High plank. You can stay here or drop to your knees as you lower down to the mat. Lift to your back bend. Downward dog. Push into your hands, rise to your toes, travel forward. Halfway lift, fold, mountain, back bend, mountain, chair. Bring your hands down to your heart in your chair. Connect down into your heels and wiggle your toes off of the floor. Now gently set your toes back onto the mat. Lift your heart up, take a breath in, sink lower, breathe out. Now connect to your right foot. Come onto your left toes. Can you bring your left knee to your chest and your foot all the way off the ground? Warrior one. Step your lifted leg back and behind. Lift your hands up. Shut down your eyes and just hang out here in warrior one for a second. We're creating muscle memory. What does it feel like to be here in your body? Where are you connected the strongest to the ground? Where do you feel the strongest through your core, your chest? Reach up higher. Bring your hands to your heart. Chair, step forward, stay low in your hips. Connect to your left foot. Bring your right knee to your chest. Warrior one. Control your foot down. Reach up. Again, shut down your eyes. Muscle memory. Is there any part of your body that is over-engaged? Can you soften up? Reach your hands higher. Bring them down to your heart. Step forward to chair. Take in a big breath. Fold forward. Exhale. Halfway lift. Fold back down. Mountain, rise up tall. Back bend. Mountain. Chair, hands to your heart. Lift your heart up nice and tall, and we're going to look over to the left. Turn from your chest, push back in your shoulders. Press your knees forward. Take one or two more breaths. Mountain, come back up. Back bend. Mountain. Chair, twist to the opposite direction now. Mountain. Fold forward. Halfway lift. Fold back down. Downward dog. Walk your way back. Lift your right heel. Bring your knee to your elbow. And we're going to step to a high lunge, crescent lunge. Push into your front big toe, reach your hands up, and keep your back heel high to the ceiling. Reach up a little bit taller. Let's add in a twist. Take your right hand back behind you. Look and see how far you can reach. Crescent, untwist. Warrior two. Drop your back heel down, reach your hands wider apart. Reverse warrior. Bring your front hand up and overhead. Reach back and down with your back elbow and shoulder. Warrior two, bring yourself back up. Crescent, pivot onto your toes. Three-legged down dog. Take your hands to the mat, lift your foot up. Now control it back down. Other side, lift your left heel as high as you can. Crunch your knee, tap your elbow. Crescent lunge. Push into your front foot. Squeeze your thigh and your knee in and reach through your heart. Lift a little taller. Twist with your left hand back. Send your breath in all the way through the twist. Crescent, reach back tall. Warrior two. Drop down your back heel, push from your shoulders. Reverse warrior. Bring your front hand up and over. You could look up or down too, see how it feels in your neck. Warrior two, come tall. Crescent lunge, reach back up. Three-legged down dog. Connect strong in your hands, lift your heel high. And lower down all the way to tabletop. Take cow and cat a couple of times. Push your belly down and lift your gaze up for that cow. Round into your spine in cat. And just move back and forth. Sink into child's pose. And then we're going to thread the needle. So take your right arm underneath your chest, your left shoulder, and stay down low in your hips for a couple breaths. To really increase the stretch too across your shoulder blades and your upper back, if you think about trying to push the armpit, your left armpit down towards the ground, that's going to help get you a little more pull across your shoulder blades. And then let's just try playing with some balance here now. So I want you to shift your weight up higher onto your shoulder, your head, but listen to your body. And then we're going to see if you can extend your left leg long and straight behind you so your toes are on the ground. And then if you feel pretty sturdy here and your shoulder feels okay yet, you can balance and try taking that foot all the way up towards the ceiling. Steady your breath. Be okay if you fall over and just reset yourself back up. Control and bring yourself back out of the pose here. Come back up into tabletop, cow and cat a couple of times. And then let's sink back to child's pose. Take just 1 or 2 breaths here. Stay low in your hips as you thread your opposite arm underneath. Now we're going to start to work towards that balancing pose. Lift your hips higher, put your weight towards your shoulder. Just start real slow by extending your right leg long and back, and maybe you can come to the very tips of your toes or lift all the way up. Take about 2 more breaths. Slow them down. Nice and slow. Bring yourself out. And all the way flat onto your belly. You can make a pillow with your arms and turn your head to the side. Either sway your heels side to side or bend your knees and sway your feet. We're going to play with a little bit of back bending next. So we're going to come on up into a Sphinx pose. And this is where your elbows are underneath your shoulders. Have your palms and your forearms on the ground. Lift your heart up. And now squeeze your shoulder blades down your back. Lift your heart up a little higher. Now look over your right shoulder. Lift to the center. Left shoulder. Now go back and forth. Link up with your breath. When you come to the center, can you breathe in nice and tall and then twist it out as you look over your shoulders? Once more over each side. Lower yourself back down to the center. Turn your head off to the opposite direction. You can sway your hips and heels again. Just be aware of how your low back is feeling. We're going to come back into Sphinx pose with your elbows under your shoulders. And then we're going to play around with half bow here. So start by squeezing your left heel up towards your butt. And then just reach back with your left hand, see where your foot is. If you can't reach it, that's okay. You can reach for a strap. Maybe you can grab your pant leg. And if you can reach, it doesn't matter which direction your hand is, just see how it feels in your elbow and your shoulder. Now hold here, lift up through your chest. You can keep your right hand on the ground to balance and support you, or if you're looking for a little bit more lift up on the right side, kick back into your left hand, keep your chest up. Take some strong, slow breaths. Release everything with some control. Take a second to flatten out your back if you need to. And then we have that half bow for the second side. Press down into your opposite elbow. Reach back for your other foot. Use the bind that you have between your hand and your foot to then turn your chest forward and stretch out across your collarbone, down your shoulder. Again, you can play with that strength and trying to lift up the opposite side or still use it to support yourself. Take in one more breath. Let go, nice and controlled. Again, take a second just to be flat with your back. We do have one more opportunity for a back bend here. We can go into a full bow where you grab back for both ankles at the same time. Sometimes it's easier to start one side than the other. See what you can do. If you're not quite feeling it today, that's okay. You can go back to one of those other half versions, or you could just rest, take a couple breaths. When you're ready, gently control and let everything go. Take a second to let your back flatten, allow those muscles to soften and relax. And then go ahead and work your way over to your backs. I'm gonna stay up seated, but I'm gonna have you two lay down. And get yourself comfortable on your backs. We're gonna do one more back bend, bridge position. So if you have a block or a pillow, a bolster, something that you want, you could slide it in underneath your tailbone. Or if you feel like you need more strength, more power, you can go ahead and just hold yourself strong in that bridge pose too. Either way, I want you to shut down your eyes, connect your breath to your heart space again, and use this opportunity to stretch open your heart, stretch open your ribs, your belly, that whole front half of your body. We spend so much of our day hunched over at the steering wheel, hunched over at the desk, hunched over at our phones. So if you can be mindful and intentional with creating that opening across the front of your body, allowing those muscles a chance to relax instead of being contracted and within. Take a few more breaths. See how long you can make them last. If you've been resting on that block or that prop, you can roll off or pick yourself up and pull it out. Give yourself a moment to lay flat, shift your hips side to side. See how everything's feeling after that. Let's go into a reclined twist. So you can bring either both or one knee up, but we're going to go over to the right. You can use a block to stack your knees together or fold them. It really doesn't matter if you're following along at home either. What's important here in your twist is that you are anchoring down into your shoulders. And then see just how far you can press your knees away, what happens in your back, what happens to your breath. Find your edge and try to hold there. Push into your shoulders and your back. Bring yourself up to the center and drop your legs over to the other side. If you need to rearrange your props or your knees, go ahead, give yourself that time. So then you can settle in and connect with your breath. Bring yourself back to the center. Stretch any last things that your body still needs out of your practice today. Take a minute or so for that. Or if you wanted to grab a blanket, get yourself more comfortable for the ending here. You can lay flat on the ground or rest your legs up on the wall or on a couch or a chair. Allow your eyelids to shut down. Sink in to the ground and the support that is underneath you. Allow each inhale to connect you a little firmer, a little more solid to the ground. Allow your mind to wander. Allow your thoughts to come and go. Oftentimes when it comes to this part of the class, I find myself feeling like I should be focused on something or I should be feeling some sort of way. When in reality, this is it. You're just supposed to sit here, be with it. Give yourself one more minute here just to be okay with everything the way it is. Notice where your attention is taking you. Come back to the feeling of your breath in your body, the movement that your breath has. And start to move through your fingers and your toes. Give yourself a moment to stretch out. Take your time and work your way to a seated position. Give yourself time here to be firm and grounded in your hips and your legs. Stay alert and proud through your chest, but allow your shoulders to drop back. Sit with your eyes shut and just take one more moment to listen to everything happening around you. Through your nose, take in a deep breath. Open your mouth and exhale. We're going to finish with 3 together like that. Bring your hands together at your heart, bow to yourself, set your mood for the rest of your day. Thank you for joining me. Namaste.